With the democratization of education, people are taking online classes all over the world. But in order for these credentials to have integrity, we must address the big questions. How do we verify who took the course? Who deserves the credit? How do we know who cheated? My name is Tim Duna. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Verificient Technologies, and we are on a mission to put an end to online cheating. Today, online proctoring is done with human proctors, watching people through a webcam and controlling your desktop. It's intrusive, it's error-prone, and certainly not scalable. Neither is this. We do things completely differently. We have a patented technology that delivers the world's only proctorless identity verification system. Proctorless, that's right, requiring no human supervision. That's why our technology is automated and scalable. Let's show you how it works. The student logs onto the testing platform, runs an 8-point system check, performs a 3-part identity verification beginning with a facial scan, an ID scan, and even a knuckle scan. Once that's complete, they're allowed to take the test. Now on the client side, the dashboard flags students and timestamps their incidents. We could go to the video and see when a student has left the testing session. We also see and capture when a student acknowledges a violation. The same thing happens when a student uses a browser or someone else to help answer questions to a test. Most importantly, our system detects when another person is taking the test. We're a SaaS company, and our pricing is nearly 50% lower than any other option in the marketplace. We're able to do this because our technology is automated, scalable, and completely proctorless. Let's talk about the marketplace. Today, our competitors are proctoring 60 million tests. The remaining 860 million tests that are unproctored, looking for our solution, and we're going after all of that. Since August, we've established pilots with 7 clients whose students take 2 million tests. That's a revenue opportunity of $21 million alone. Our team are seasoned professionals in strategy, technology, and branding. Our advisors are leading experts in their fields. We're raising $1.5 million, of which we already have 40% committed. I'm Tim from Verificient, and we are the missing piece required for the integrity of the online credential. Thank you.
Stay up there. Proctorless. All right. You're going to take one thing away. Charles, we'll start down with you on this one. Charles, what are your thoughts?
The one thing, the immediate question I had was just false positives, false negatives, sort of better sense for how it actually works and what you've learned from your initial client deployments about how you can improve the solution.
Great question, Charles. So we utilize machine learning, computer visioning, and facial recognition. So what we have is what we call unstructured learning that becomes structured. So the more training data we get, the more impressions. We look at 30 impressions per second per student. That's audio, video, facial, everything. And the more impressions we get, the more we train the data, it becomes more accurate. So right now, our first pilot, Columbia University, we've already looked at, there's 121 students, and we only had 2 false impressions. And that was because the student had the tick. That was a use case that we just came up with.
All right. Go down to Jenny.
So you're working with Columbia, and who are your other big partners right now?
Our first pilot was with Columbia University. We're working with Rutgers to do an integration. Rutgers University across campuses to do the integration and pilot. Seton Hall University, Kaplan online, Kaplan higher campuses. Also, we're taking over the admission process for Kaplan, and we have Pace University, and we're also looking at Strayer and University of Miami, Florida.
Rob.
So high level, great demo, very tight presentation. You did a great job of explaining what you do. One follow-up question to Jenny's is, have you thought about the online course systems like Udacity and Coursera?
Great question, thank you. So we go to market in really 4 ways. We look at platforms, and these are test distribution platforms like Blackboard, ExamSoft, and others. We look at for-profits and nonprofits and consortiums, which are the Coursera's, the Udemy's, the Udacity's. We have a meeting with Coursera tomorrow. Daphne already said that.
So the quick follow-up that I had to that was just when you're talking to these people, do they view you as a technology supplier, whether it's Columbia, et cetera, and how do you maintain margins over time, given the alternatives that you talked about? Because they're the ones that basically decide what the testing, the validation is going to be.
I'm sorry if I could just understand a question.
How do
Are
you
talking about
maintain margins? Yeah, fundamentally.
The Coursera's or just all of our
You,
clients?
you, over time, working.
How do we
Maintain your margins.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we maintain margins? Well, we're a SaaS company. We charge our clients in two ways. We have a transactional model, $15 a test, which is nearly 50% compared to anybody else in the landscape for online proctoring. And we have a relationship model where we charge $240 per student per year. So the margins are tremendous because we're doing AWS for consumption. So what we do is we could give you a real-time price if you want the results, or we could arbitrage against the marketplace after the test is over and get you pennies on a dollar. So our margins are tremendous.
2 minutes. Howard, question.
Why didn't you call it proctorless?
That's a great question. And answer to that is, well, Verificient Technologies is the mothership, and our first product was Proctor Track. But when we went down the road and our clients saw it at Kaplan and Columbia, they said, wait a second, you're proctorless. There's no human interaction involved. We're giving you complete video analytics.
So is this the only thing you're going to do forever, or do you have a whole bunch of other products and stuff you're going to do later?
I'm liking this guy. He's awesome. So
Be careful.
the reality is our beachhead was education, because that's where we came from. But the opportunities are endless. Employment verification is huge. Financial services, healthcare, and certification for every industry professionals.
Jed.
Do either of these beat the system using a fake ID from the beginning?
I'm sorry?
Do either of these beat the system using a fake ID from the beginning,
Well,
or having a cheat sheet on the bottom that you can kind of glance down on every now and then, or having a twin?
Twins, good.
So I'll go in reverse order. We're actually doing a use case for a twin because we had 2 interns that are twins. In terms of gaming and cheat sheets, we have facial suspicion. So when you take a test online, basically you're looking from left to right or up and down, depending what country you're in. But as soon as you get out of the purview of the screen, it detects facial suspicion. So our use case of the tick, well, that kind of like opened up a lot of things. So we do eye tracking. So when you're at a screen so many times, we know you're cheating, and we document that. In the end, what we do is you get a report with all your students, red, yellow, and green. You just pick the red and the yellows, click it, you get a timestamp, like we showed you, of the player 5 seconds before it occurred, and then the student actually acknowledging that they got the alert that they left the session. So they acknowledge it. It's a complete.
All right, what about the fake ID thing?
Great question. So from a fake ID perspective, we look at basically, there's 2 ways to answer that. We look at facial detection. So if the person is using the fake ID and their face is being scanned, if it's not consistent, then we know it's not them. But if they come on with a fake ID and a fake person impersonating, then what we do is we verify with the school.
Proctorless. Also, very efficient. Get some wine.
Thank you.